So we finally made it. At last, the game is out. Or, well, not quite out, but the date is really close. And here we are. You've probably seen this before already if you've played the demo, and if you haven't yet, you should probably do that before watching this. I do plan on making Environmental Station Alpha a close to, but not quite 100% run, so if you're the kind of person that wants to discover things for themselves, you might want to click away. But for the rest of us, you might want to get a glance at what Environmental Station Alpha is and the various things inside it before you go ahead and buy it. This is going to be for you. So yeah. Let us begin. With File 2 nonetheless. So like the demo, still has the car door closing sound. Man, that sound is good. The sound design is great. And the music, I can attest to its quality, because I've listened to everything, and I think it is great. It's a pity that my voice will have to be over it, but no, there is not going to be a non-commentary edition of this. So yeah, if you aren't already familiar with the plot, a very large station was lost and no one is sure why it was. Of course, no one started caring until it started sending out signals. So yeah, Civilization has decided to send us, a robot, in order to carry out this mission. We've got a lot of random overgrowth there, or dust. Hasn't been anyone here in a while, from the look of things. And I guess the power generator was turned off at some point. Uh-oh. And welcome to the first boss. It's not too hard, but if you're kind of new to this kind of thing, you might be thrown a bit off guard. Thankfully, the drone isn't too hard to defeat. But of course, the only path is back the way we came, rather than being able to move on. So I guess we're heading back now. I guess now that we've activated the defense system, the whole station has started to run again. And now we've fallen down. I don't think we'll be getting back to our ship for a while. And so, the game finally begins proper. That being said, there are still various tutorial terminals about, just in case you need to know how to save. Anyway, it looks like there's something up here, so might as well check it out, right? Okay, this spot looks kind of interesting. Something tells me we're not quite prepared for this area just yet. So let's just head on back down. We have those crawlers, we have those side hoppers, and we have the annoying moths. Unfortunately, I don't think there's an official bestiary of all the creatures in this game, so you're gonna have to make do with what I suggest. Crawlers Alpha and Beta. There are two different types of crawlers, but we'll get to those later. We have swimmers and They come in alpha and beta variants. One which just moves very slowly, and the other one which moves kind of fast. Now, as you can see, the crawlers are they kind of tend to drop. And you might wonder why I'm not talking about the security computers, and that's because they're not really of much consequence, except at this point in the game. I was thinking it was going to be a little bit like Metroid Fusion with the access computers back when I first took a look at it, but then it kind of discarded that kind of system and didn't see much of it later on. So yeah. As we've seen already, we have finally made our way back up from earlier, and now with access level 2. Not that it means much, except it does mean we can actually progress through the early parts of the game. You don't seem to think about it much later on. The caves do look very nice, and I think it kind of does a better job at, you know, depicting a sort of immersive experience compared to Metroid Fusion. This particular room, I have no idea what it's used for. It looks like some kind of water processing plant, but there's nothing you can interact with in there. At least not that I know of. I know there's plenty of secrets to be found. Anyway, it looks like this gate was pretty similar to the one we saw before, so I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be getting past there if it wasn't for the fact that we triggered the access computer. Anyway, this vertical corridor looks kind of ruined, and it looks like we can get through on that side. It's a bit of a wreck here. The water is kind of dirty here too, so better not fall into it. And hey look, it looks like some power-up of some sort. It was a fake. And we have the Flying Cockroach. Or at least a variant of it. You might recognize this from the demo, but it's not as hard as it once was. Thankfully, due to the help of these particular platforms and actually knowing what to do, you shoot the creatures that they spawn, and you shoot it in the face when it drops down. And I defeated it in just 2 rounds. Anyway, if you head on to the right, you actually get a health upgrade. It increased our health from 10 to 14, so that's all nice. Unlike Metroid, where you start with like 99 energy and, you know, you take damage based off that. You only have a limited amount of hits, so it does get quite hard later on, and you will be struggling to keep your health up. Anyway, we got a jump booster, which is the very first power-up, and it allows us to perform a double jump, which allows us to get over walls like that. Pretty simple, but pretty helpful. Especially moving around in a room such like this one, with a lot of mushroom heads. It lets us get the height that we need. Part of me was thinking that this power-up should have come much later in the game just to really make it tough on the player, but something tells me that's not going to happen right now. I mean, this game is basically complete, and somehow a massive change of the game's mechanics as a result of taking away the double jump early on in the game is probably not going to be achievable in, like, the 1 week as of this recording. Anyway, we have more sewage water, or at least acidic water. Since we are a robot, we do take damage, but not from water, but from other materials and hazards, I suppose. In any case, it looks like this path is kind of blocked off, and not even our double jump can help us. Yeah, we're not getting up there. Not anytime soon, that is. So let's just head on back to that other room that we looked at, only briefly. Looks like we will need to double jump to get over without taking any damage. Looks like there's a lot of stuff up above, but we can't exactly reach it just yet. And we'll just pass through here. Looks like some of the systems are still offline, so... yeah. There's a lift, but we'll come back to that once we check out what's on the other side. I guess some of the systems were in check up to the point that something started happening, and I guess they started to grow a little more. That being said, they still seem to have kept out of the main areas. Wow, I like those heat lines, but taking damage isn't exactly something I'm a fan of, so let's not go there unless we absolutely have to. Up we go. Okay. Looks like some kind of cavern-like area. Well, I guess this is the one part of the station that doesn't just grow out, I suppose. I mean, well, of the reports earlier. I mean, you'd think that a temple would be the least likely thing to grow. At the very least, you won't be having anything spiraling out of control as a result of it. So let's move on, since we can't exactly make any progress there. So many things to unlock, so many things to look at. We have a teleporter-like object, and I guess... yeah, we're not going any further that way, from that air vent. So let's just head on forwards. Oh, watch out for the falling blocks. I'm not sure if hitting those is immediately fatal, but they'll probably do a sizable amount of damage, so you don't want to touch those. And here's another lift, so let's head on up. They're kind of similar to other Metroidvanias in that they kind of separate a whole bunch of areas, but they're not there all the time. In fact, this is the only part where elevators are actually present. Wow, the AI mainframe looks like it took a beating. Just look at all that rust kind of looking surfaces, and it looked kind of beat down as well. There's not much we can do there, so we have to move on. Ah, this place looks kind of pleasant. Like a forest. But not in the tropical sense, it's just like a plain old forest. It sure looks like it's got a lot of stuff going on in it. I mean, just look at all the stuff that's falling down from the ceiling. Here, especially. I guess the systems have gone out of control, because they seem to be overdoing it quite a bit. We haven't seen the underwater sector yet, so I guess we'll be getting there later. And I guess we need the hook shot, which is in the volcanic sector, which means I guess we'll be going for a heat run. I guess. Ah, man. I mean, you didn't exactly have to do it in the main Metroid games as far as I know of. But having to do it now, I hope it isn't too bad. thankfully for us, there's a save point nearby, so that about does it for this episode. Join us next time as we try and grab the hook shot from the volcanic sector, and we'll see where we go from that. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care.